Last month, I created a series of reels on Instagram that brought me thousands of new followers in just a few days, which for a long-time micro content creator like me is kind of a big deal. In fact, I gained just under 3,000 new followers from one of those reels. So today I'm going to walk you through that reel that brought me all those new followers, as well as the other related reels that I created in this series. My goal with today's video is to basically look at this content and use myself as a case study to help you understand why I think this video went viral, how I was able to capitalize on it, and what this means for you and what you can take away from my success to use in your own content strategy. I've done some similar videos to this before where I have used myself as the example or the guinea pig to test out things and report back to you what I've learned. So if you're interested in that and the behind the scenes of being a content creator, be sure to subscribe. Let's discuss the reel that really took off. So this reel that I created, which was basically an overview of what you need to know about the 2024 Met Gala, brought me, according to my insights, 2,784 new followers just from this reel, and it received over 900,000 views on Instagram. That was the first reel that I posted in this series, so everything I did after that was basically inspired by this. Since this reel was doing so well, I ended up creating 11 reels in total related to the Met Gala. By the way, if you are not familiar, the Met Gala is an event that is thrown on the first Monday of May each year. It is a fundraiser for the Costume Institute at the Metropolitan Museum of Art here in New York City, and it's organized by Vogue and Anna Wintour. So for us fashion girls, it's kind of like the Super Bowl of fashion. So all in all, those 11 reels that I created all about the Met Gala on Instagram received a combined 1.3 million views. And that was in both April and May of 2024. For context, I shared the same content pretty much on TikTok and received about 800,000 total views for those same videos. So that's a good thing to point out right from the beginning, is make sure that if you're creating short form content, that you're sharing it to multiple platforms, because you never know which is going to yield the best results. So let's talk about what worked so well about this reel, and I will link it down below in case you'd like to actually go watch the whole thing. I think one of the first reasons that this did work well was because I knew that it would. So last year for the Met Gala, I also created a couple of reels talking about who I was excited to see there and shared a little bit about the history of the event. And those reels also performed well last year, although not quite at the scale that the ones that I did this year showed. Another thing that I think worked really well and that I changed from my reels from last year to the reels that I created about the Met Gala this year is that I started early. So the Met Gala, like I said earlier, is always held on the first Monday of May. However, I didn't start just posting Met Gala content that night. I actually went about a month before in my content calendar and said, I think this is when I should start creating the content about the Met Gala. And I think that starting early was one of the biggest reasons that I converted so many people, not just from being a viewer to then becoming a follower. And that's because I was posting a month ahead of time saying, we're in like the 1 month countdown to the Met Gala, so here's what you can expect from this event. And because I got in and posted that video super early, people knew that there was going to be more to come. And I didn't say at any point, make sure you follow along for my Met Gala content. It was sort of implied that because I had created this first video breaking down the Met Gala and sharing more about it and kind of hinting at the fact that I was going to be doing coverage that night. You know, there's a phrase on TikTok like comment to stay on Met Gala TikTok or comment to stay on, I don't know, Stanley Cup TikTok. Like there are kind of these things that pop up now where people want to follow along for one particular series or one particular reason because they know there's going to be more like that. So if someone sees a video they like and they know that there's an easy way to get more content like that, that was what I think converted more people over to becoming actual followers versus just someone who would watch the video and keep scrolling. And also, because I started a month early, it gave me a lot of time to see what people's reaction was to the first video and plan more subsequent videos where I wasn't really feeling rushed or like I just had to get things up the night of, because that's sort of what happened when I was covering the Met Gala in 2023. I really only started that coverage, I think, the day before the event. And so my coverage at the actual event, which I was not there, by the way, I was here in leggings and a sequin top just for, my green screen videos, commenting on everything from my living room, as is the best way to watch the Met Gala. But during the actual Met Gala, I wasn't really watching and enjoying. If anything, I was kind of watching the live stream, turning it on briefly to try to hear what people said about their outfits, trying to write down notes about the inspiration behind the outfits and how it tied into the theme and all of that, so that I could film a couple of videos that night. But I didn't have to also film my videos about what is the Met Gala and who are the co-chairs and all of the other informational videos that I actually took the time to script out ahead of time, and we'll talk more about that later in the video. But I think this is one of the reasons that serial content works so well, because you are able to take one idea that people loved and keep coming back to it in a different way, or answer different questions about it, or interpret it slightly differently. On a similar note to why I think starting early helped me with content, one kind of underrated thing that it also helped me with was getting my content to rank in search. So my content on both TikTok and Instagram was actually ranking just on Google search for some of the terms and topics that I was creating content about. So when people started searching, a month before the Met Gala and leading up to that event, when is the Met Gala? What's this year's theme? When people were typing those questions into Google, my short form video content on Instagram and TikTok was being surfaced in those search results, in addition to more traditional articles that you would expect to see on Google. This is definitely a change that Google has been making to also show video in search results, and particularly to start incorporating some of the content that is living on these short form platforms, which I think is a great thing for content creators, because it means that there is more of a potential for your short form video content to have a longer lifespan than what it would have if it were just living on TikTok or just living on Instagram. And not only that, but the fact that my videos were ranking in the search results also gave me time to go into Google and type the word Met Gala and see what else came up with it, because that also gave me ideas for videos that I ended up creating, like who the Met Gala co-chairs are for 2024, and what's the history of the Met Gala, and even down to something as simple as like, where can you watch the Met Gala? If you're interested in seeing more of my full process for how I do keyword research and come up with video topic ideas for YouTube, blog post ideas, and more, I do have my 60-minute workshop, What You Really Need to Know About SEO. So I go much more in depth there. I will link it down below in case you're interested in more of the step-by-step process for how I do that. Another thing that I think made this series of reels particularly successful is that pretty much everything I created felt like content that was very unique to me and that other people couldn't replicate quite as easily. And I guess what I mean by that is sometimes on short form content platforms, and let me know in the comments if you feel this way, it's so easy to become a reactive poster where you're posting in reaction to what someone else is doing, or you see a trend and you want to try it out for yourself. And I think that enables us to create more content than some of the more planned out content. But if you know me at all, you know I love long form content. YouTube is what I consider my primary platform as a content creator. And I'm long-winded. I love a good story, and I like watching content that is thought out and produced just as much as I like watching, a trend here and there as well. So by coming up with my own unique ideas and actually writing down a script with talking points, pulling images that I wanted to use, and being really particular about which images I was sourcing to be the background in my green screen videos. Because of the time that I was able to put towards these content pieces, it felt like something that was really unique, well thought out, and like something that came from me, and that could not have just been replicated by opening the phone camera of whatever native social media app I'm using and throwing something up that I created in 2 seconds. If anything, it actually seems to work really well when I treat my short form content more like my long form content. And I think this could go either way, because I have spoken to content creators who are like, no, the silly random thing that took me 5 seconds to make is what I threw up on my profile, and that's what ended up going viral. So I'm not saying that this will work perfectly for everyone. Again, I really want to use myself as a case study here to share my experience and help you think more about how this could play into your content process. On the uniqueness front, I also have a lot of qualities that give me a unique perspective and outlook on how I'm going to present this information to my audience. So I actually did major in art history in college, and I'm a former magazine editor. So the way that I am going to report and source content kind of stems from those two past versions of myself and gives me that unique outlook and that unique perspective that I think people appreciated. And someone else could also create a video about the Met Gala, but it might be a totally different vibe from what I'm putting out there. So for me, leaning into my uniqueness proved to work really well with this series. So since I had one idea take off, the next thing that I did that I think really helped get that video even more reach was to build upon that momentum. So I was also, in addition to doing keyword research and looking for other topic ideas, I was also answering a lot of questions in the comments. I made an effort to reply to as many comments as I possibly could, at least the ones that were productive. There were some that were just hating on JLo, which whatever you feel about that, that's your opinion. But one thing that I think really helped was leaning into that momentum. So obviously creating this kind of series of related content so that if people saw one video from me and they went to look to see, does she have any other videos about the Met Gala, that it would be really prominent and easy to see. For this reason, I always try to label my reel covers so that if someone swipes over, even if the image is not 100% related, because, you know, we're still trying to have the grid look a little cute and not totally chaotic, that you're at least able to read the label for that reel and know what it's going to be about when you click into it. I also think following that similar recognizable format of green screen where I am talking and I have an image behind me was really helpful just for people to know immediately when they saw the video that it was going to be like the one that they originally enjoyed and started following me for. So thinking about those visual cues when you're creating more content like the original video that did well for you. Also on Instagram, and I believe also on TikTok and YouTube Shorts, you have the ability to reply to a comment with a video so that as people are scrolling through the comments of your popular video, they'll be able to see if you have created a video in response to someone's comment or question. So using that reply with comment feature to really put my new videos in line and make them easy to find with the original video that was performing well, I do think helped me drive a bit of traffic to those subsequent videos that I created after my original successful video. And just for good measure, I did also add a highlight to my Instagram called Met Gala, because that way the content would be easy to spot without having to scroll down in my profile, so it would all be in one place in that highlight. Another thing that I think certainly helped me was that people are interested in celebrities and the people who attend the Met Gala. And the thing about celebrities is that they're very recognizable. So when I was doing those green screen videos, I often started out in front of an image of someone who people would instantly recognize, and that might stop them from scrolling. So for example, Anna Wintour, there was also a video I did talking about the history of the Met Gala where I included a photo of Zendaya on the Met Gala red carpet from a few years back. And I also included a collage of celebrities when I was talking about who I was most excited to see at the Met Gala, taking images from previous Met Galas that those celebrities had attended and then, you know, making that the background and having me be in front doing the green screen video and explaining who I was looking forward to seeing. when people see an image they're familiar with, it does kind of recall something in their brain that I think helps them to stop scrolling and say, hey, wait, I recognize that. I know what that is. So I do certainly think that that was helpful. And also, if people care about certain celebrities a lot, like the Taylor Swifts and the Rihannas of the world, that is something that I think people are much more likely to save or to send to a friend or to share on their own stories to kind of discuss further with their own communities. Because, I mean, even like the amount of DMs my friends and I send each other about Taylor Swift is a little crazy. So it really did feel like something that was savable, that was shareable, and that people would want to talk to others about and not just, kind of leave a comment in their own little bubble on Instagram, but also see what other people had to say about it or invite other people to weigh in on it. So now that you've heard more about what I think made those particular reels that I created successful, let's talk about some of the things you can take away from this and ask yourself about your own content. If you've had previous success with a particular reel or piece of content, go back and ask yourself a few questions, like, what was the style of that video? Was it a green screen with an image behind you? Was it all B-roll with you talking in a voiceover, or were you talking directly to the camera? Even understanding kind of which 3 of those styles seems to work best and be most well received by your audience could be a clue as to what they're going to be most excited to see from you in the future. Also, ask yourself if there was anything about your content in particular that made it particularly save-worthy or share-worthy. Would someone watch that content piece and immediately think, oh my God, I've got to send this to my friend, or I've got to show this to my mom, or whatever that kind of emotion or trigger is? Was it something super relatable? Was it something really informational that you would want to know, that you would want to save and come back to? And that could be something as simple as a recipe that you saw that you want to make for dinner in a few weeks, or a comedy sketch about how moms always want the house to be spotless clean before guests come over that you're going to DM to your mom at the end of the day. And then also based on your previous content that you've noticed got more views than normal or more engagement than normal, try to think about that particular topic that you created the video about and see if you can brainstorm 3 to 5 similar topics or kind of offshoots from that topic for other content ideas you can share related to it. That gives you a chance to test out those similar content pieces and see if you can kind of replicate your own success, as I was able to do with my 2023 Met Gala content in May 2024. Don't forget to check out my 60-minute SEO workshop called What You Really Need to Know About SEO to learn more about my keyword research processes, and leave a comment below to let me know what you thought of today's video. Please also like this video and subscribe if you enjoyed what you saw. And if you're also interested in seeing another case study that I did on this channel, where I posted 3 YouTube shorts a day and documented my results, check out the up next recommendation on the screen. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.